Hi guys, I'm Bri.
And I'm Alli. This is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went.
Hello
And welcome.
to our Offscript podcast.
I'm Bri,
And I'm Alli.
and we compare books to their movies.
Today, we are comparing Stephen King's Gerald's Game.
Yes.
It is season 5, episode 11, and it's the middle of October. Happy spooky season.
How's it been treating you all?
You getting all your fall bucket list things checked off?
Don't worry, I'm not either. No, I'm actually really excited. Actually, the day before this comes out, me and John, I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh.
We're going on the Clipper to go orca watching.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and they guarantee that you'll see an orca or you get your money back.
Nice.
Yeah, so I cannot wait. I worked at the Edgewater, which is right next to where the Clipper docks, and I always saw people go on it all the time, and I was always like, oh, I want to go on it so bad.
Okay, let me know your experience because I might book it for next year because I really want to see orcas. That's like my Washington ultimate bucket list. I'm like, I freaking live. I see it on our our
freaking
Facebook
Yeah.
neighborhood chat.
Oh,
So,
they were at Point Defiance today.
yeah,
I was
orcas.
like, what the fuck?
Just saw orcas at Browns Point. I'm like,
Yeah.
where?
Yeah, I'm like, I never see those.
No. And so, yeah. So let me know.
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
I'm really excited. But then it's ironic because I'm like, this is taking up time from us doing fall stuff.
things.
But also I want to see a whale, so I don't care. His neighbor had won tickets from her work and the tickets expired by the 13th. And she asked, she was like, would you and Bri want these? And so John texted me and was like, hey, we just got these. And I was like, yes. And he's like, okay, these are the only 2 days that would work for me. And I was like, this day? I don't even care.
Right.
So yeah, I'm
That's
very
fun.
excited. So there's my fall bucket
You're
list.
doing other bucket list things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But yeah, so there's my fall bucket list.
Okay. That's a good picture. That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay. We got some major trigger warnings for this one.
Yeah, this one's
It was not fun.
bad. Oh my
was
God. I have
yucky.
never in my life had to, I can't watch gore, but nothing makes me stop and get out of the story for a minute. But listening to this audiobook, I had to pause and wait until the next day before I could read it again.
It was yucky.
I was
So
like, this is disgusting.
there's gore. There is talk of rape in it and a lot of talk of child molesting in it,
Mm-hmm.
which is not an ideal thing for me to read.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Did not enjoy that.
Dude, I didn't even know that was in this
Right. I didn't
Book.
either.
at all.
For example, here's all I knew about the book. A woman's husband dies of a heart attack while she is handcuffed to the bed. Following the realization that she is trapped with little hope of rescue, she begins to let the voices inside her head take over.
Yep.
Where
That's
in
literally
there?
all I know. Too.
Where in there did it tell me that, oh, by the way?
Mm-hmm. Nowhere. Nowhere. This is all I knew of it too.
Yeah.
And I knew that I tried to watch the movie and I got spooked pretty early into it. Because of
Movie was
creepy
pretty
dude.
spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have the author of Stephen King, director Mike Flanagan, screenplay writer Mike Flanagan, and Jeff Howard, and audiobook reader was Lindsay Krause. How'd you like her?
Eh. It was okay. I feel like she was too loud. I always felt like she was
Loud?
shouting.
You could turn the volume
I know, but when she was voicing Ruth, she was always super loud, so I would turn it down, and then the other people would be super quiet, so then I'd have to turn it up, and I was like, "Lady, can you just stop?"
Oh, I thought she was boring, but
Yeah.
I could deal with her. The thing that drove me crazy was the freaking music.
To
You would,
do the chapter markers, but then I would stay going.
it wasn't. See, okay, that was okay. I'm
Was it that, or was it just her memories? I don't know. Sorry, continue.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
I was trying to figure out. I was like, is this us going into a chapter, or is this because she's now ooh, I'm in a daydream?
Maybe that's what it was. No, because That's what I was hoping it was, because that would make more sense. And then that would be like, because this audiobook had no chapters, right? It was just a full chunk of 13 hours. And so I was hopeful that, okay, the music, every time there's music, I can pause and do my little voice memo. But sometimes the music would happen and the exact same story is still happening. Like, it's like she took a deep breath and then played the music. And then she like continued the story. I'm like, okay, like, can't you at least put the music in between events? Yeah. So that kind of drove me crazy. But
yeah, I didn't understand that either.
No.
That's not her fault.
It was not her fault. I guess that's right.
Allie's like, I hated her because of this.
I didn't say she was okay. I hated the production.
There you go.
All right. So the book came out in May of 1992. The movie came out September 29th, 2017. That's 25 years.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. What'd you do first?
I watched the first, like, maybe 10 minutes, maybe 15 of the movie. Got spooked and was like, I can't watch this alone. I'll have to wait to watch it with someone. I never got around to it. Because I tried to watch it, in 2017. And then we did Offscript, and I was like, okay, Allie, if we're doing this, I have to read the book first. I can't watch that.
That's fine. So I watched it first. And what are your thoughts of the plot?
I so wanted it to be more horror about her being trapped on the bed. I didn't want the whole, like, after having read it and seen the movie, yes, it makes sense that, like, the only reason she married Gerald is because of what had happened to her. And so, like, she basically was trapped in her life because of what had happened to her. So it was like a big allegory for it. But I really was like, we're about to get a good, scary movie about her being trapped on a bed with ghosties coming to her.
Yeah, that would have been way better. Because I think overall they did the trapped on the bed part really well. It was the whole extra about what happened to her when she's 10 that was yucky, that I didn't want to read about at all. So, yeah.
I picked it.
That's why.
Why did I pick it? I picked it because I thought it was going to be a really, really scary movie. And then I realized that literally if I had not gotten spooked at that 15-minute mark, I never would have been scared.
Right.
It was not a scary movie. Like, I mean, it is.
It had its moments.
And it had scenes where I was like, what the fuck? But other than that.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
Yeah. But I picked it because I was a wuss and thought I needed someone to watch it. And I was like, well, we got to do it at some point. So let's go.
All right. Well, I got some super fun facts for you. Number 1, the book Midnight Mass that Jessie throws at the dog in the movie was written by Kate Siegel's character from Hush. I don't know who Kate Siegel is. Which one she is?
I thought Kate Siegel was Mike Flanagan's wife.
Or that. Kate Siegel's character.
Yeah.
Oh, is she the mom? She might be the mom.
Oh, yes, she is. I forgot she was in this. You're right.
Okay. So, which of course, if it's his wife, Mike also directed. It had subsequently been made into a Netflix miniseries written by Flanagan. Well, number 2, this features virtually no soundtrack. There's just spooky silence and maybe like
that actually
noise.
Makes sense. What's funny is I didn't recognize that when we watched it.
I know,
but
we were too spooked
because there was no music.
Yeah. The movie, which is funny because usually music is what gets it spooky, but it was more of a psychological the whole time.
I was going to say, I think if horror directors would realize it, the absence of sound is also spooky.
That's why freaking The Quiet Place is terrifying.
Because the other thing too is with horror movies, part of why it's become just kind of like whatever is because you know that the music's building up so the thing's going to jump out here.
Right.
And you can usually time it. So when they take that away, that's when it's scary because then you're like, wait, when is it going to come out? Like what's going to happen?
Yep.
I love The Quiet Place for that reason. But yeah.
So this movie referenced Stephen King's books Cujo, The Dark Tower, Bag of Bones, and The Shining.
Yeah.
So with more detail about The Shining, number 4, when Jesse's father is manipulating her into concealing the abuse, he suggests that they might tell her mother the truth and take their medicine, which is what Jack Torrance says in The Shining. And then Henry Thompson would go to play the ghostly version of Jack in Dr. Sleep.
Thomas?
Oh, yeah, sorry. In Dr. Sleep. I didn't realize that was him. The dad.
Because they CGI'd him.
As much
kind
as they could.
Yeah. But that's why he didn't look exactly like him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
And Mike Flanagan directed Dr. Sleep.
That's funny.
Yeah.
I love that, actually.
Yeah. Bruce Greenwood is 15 years older than his on-screen wife, Carla. How do you say her last name?
Gugino?
Yeah. That was my first comment to you.
I was going to say that's exactly what you said. Yeah.
I was like, ugh, gross. He's so much older than her. And you're like, he's not supposed to be. So when I saw that fact, I was like, I was not crazy.
Putting it in there.
Oh, man. Okay.
All right.
Shall we get started?
Let's.
You start first because there's an itty bitty bit at the beginning that's not in the book.
Yeah, because we see them packing up to go to their lake house, and they're in the car and they're driving, and they almost run over a stray dog. And the whole reason they put this part in the movie is because they apparently couldn't figure out how to show there was a stray dog.
Even though they could have followed the book and it would have worked just fine.
But the stray dog was a much bigger character in the movie than in the book.
It really was.
Because then it also becomes something that freaking Jess tries to feed here at the start.
Right.
Because she's like, oh, he was stray. And then freaking Gerald comes out and is like, you can't feed him. Then he'll come back. Which makes sense. Like, if you don't want a stray dog coming to your house, why are you feeding him?
Right. They had the little thing on the radio, too. Which was like there's someone, Robin Graves.
Oh, yes. I forgot about that. Yeah. I loved that little nod.
I'm not sure I liked it.
Well, because the book doesn't even mention that until the very, very end.
I know, but that's what made it spookier.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Like,
because then you kind of know, like, oh, this is probably the dude who's Robin Graves.
Yeah. I mean, there's a chance you missed it because it wasn't like super, like Jess was kind of sort of talking over it a little bit. But I mean, if you go in knowing, oh, things on the radio usually are important and you hear it,
you're going to be like, oh,
well, it's just a guy, Robin Graves. That's the spooky guy in the house. Versus like the whole book, you're thinking like, it's like this ghosty guy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very true. You're like, oh, this guy's not real, but he's there.
Yeah.
And it's creepy.
Yep.
All right.
Okay. Well, in the book, it starts off right at the lake house. So they get to the lake house and they go there to fool around. And the door's left open because Gerald's in a hurry because he's in the mood and just didn't want to ruin his mood. But the door, like, swinging. And if you don't shut it all the way, it'll just keep slapping shut. Open and shut, open and shut.
That would be annoying.
I know. Well, Gerald handcuffed her to the bed. They've done this before, but she all of a sudden was feeling very uncomfortable. She's getting these weird flashbacks, and she was like, "Okay, we need to stop. I'm not enjoying this. Stop." And he's thinking it's part of the game. And eventually, she's like, "I feel ridiculous and stupid. Stop." And that made him pause a bit. And then she started hearing voices in her head. And one of them was telling her, just let him do it. Then it'll be over with and we can move on. And the other one was like, no, stand up for yourself. And she had a memory of her brother making fun of her as a kid. And so she punched him and she told Gerald to get the keys off the dresser and get me out of here. And he knew she wasn't joking, but he pretended that she was joking and he kept trying to sleep with her. And then she continued to have flashbacks. And one was very familiar in a voice that said, "It's okay, pumpkin." And it triggered her.
Yeah. So in the movie, this is the first time that they're doing anything with cuffs. And the whole reason they did it like that in the movie was to show her apprehension towards it, because there's no other way to show that she's like kind of uneasy and having flashbacks.
Right.
Although you could do that in a way too. Right. Instead, this is how they decided to do it. And she even was like, can we try like scarves and stuff? Which in the book, it says that they've done the scarves and they've done all that. Mm-hmm. So, but she's like, nah. Also, when did you find out? Did she have a nightgown on in the book?
Oh, she did not.
I did not think so. I thought she was just in her bra and underwear. In the movie, it's a nightgown. I'm like, what? Also,
That's probably a little more comfortable filming that.
yeah,
Instead of
yeah, I probably, but I mean, to me, as a female, thinking about being chained to a bed in your underwear versus chained to your bed in bra and, or wait, no, I was gonna say the same thing twice over. Chained to a bed in your bra and underwear versus chained to the bed in your nightgown. Nightgown's not as bad. Like, I would feel.
I mean, it was like a sexy nightgown. It was a little nighty versus just sleeping in. Nightgown.
Yeah. But it definitely, like, you're more vulnerable when you're,
yeah.
you know.
Oh, yeah.
So that makes the book even creepier.
Yeah.
Also, freaking Gerald's taking Viagra. And the only reason he's doing this in the movie is because that's why he has the cup of water next to the bed. Whereas in the book, he's just an alcoholic who needs something to drink. And because it's not a decent hour for alcohol, he drinks water. And he basically, again, because we can't get the like flashbacks that she's getting, because when she starts getting flashbacks, you kind of start thinking, like, this first scene, I kind of thought her brother had done stuff to her.
Right.
And so I was like, ooh, in the movie, Gerald's like, daddy's gonna get what daddy wants. And that's kind of what makes Jessie like, ugh, hey. And then she freaking bites Gerald in the movie, which she never does.
Yeah.
In the book.
Because in the book, she continues to fight with herself if she should let him just get it over with or stand up for herself. And then she remembered, oh, my legs are free. And she kicked him in the chest and kicked him into balls. And he lost all the air and suddenly had a heart attack and passed out and died. And he fell off the bed and cracked his head open.
Yeah. In the movie, Gerald just dies, and he dies very dramatically, and not because not because she kicks him.
I was appreciative that it wasn't that she kicked him, even though, spoiler, in the end we find out that he just had a bad heart and he was it wasn't because she kicked him that he died. But I was like, dang, that sucks. Like, thinking
even more traumatic, like you're trapped on a bed and you think you just killed your husband.
Right. So then, but like, so their marriage was awful. So she like really got over his death pretty quickly. But then you're thinking, great, I'm stuck here because I killed him.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That sucks.
That's true too.
But I mean, I guess that adds to the suckiness of it. So
yeah.
Makes sense why he did it, I guess. Like
yeah.
Stephen King wrote it that way. Jessie freaked out and passed out. And she woke up to super painful arms because they were asleep because they've been hanging above her head this whole time.
She doesn't pass out. She only falls asleep once in the movie.
Yes, and she falls asleep. She passed out like
multiple times in the book.
lot.
Because I mean, you're stressed, your adrenaline is going, and you're trapped. Like,
yeah, what you gonna do?
Yeah, pass out.
Yeah. So Jessie is now talking with people in her head, and the voices she's been talking with are Ruth, who's her old college roommate. The other is Good Wife. She named Goody. And then later on, I don't mention this in here at all, but I feel like I need to. She does start kind of, I don't know if she really starts talking to her or starts imagining her therapist. And so she's debating, but the main one she talks to are Ruth and Goody. And she's debating with these voices that if Gerald's dead or not. And she's screaming for him and calling for him. And she sees his arm just laying there. And she's come to the conclusion that, yeah, he's dead. And so she's also been hearing this dog bark in the woods ever since they got there. And she's kind of whisper shouting, please, Gerald, untie me, uncuff me. And Ruth's telling her, he's this pointless, stop it.
Yeah, there's no voices in the movie. Instead, we get Gerald's ghost. And then another version of Jessie shows up. And like,
I think that's how they did the voices.
That's exactly how they did it, but it wasn't Ruth and Goody. And the weird thing was, like, because at first I thought, oh, Gerald's Ruth and Goody is her.
Yeah.
But Jessie was also very tough on herself too. And I was like, wow, they're both Ruth.
Yeah, there wasn't a super Goody one.
Yeah. No.
That's true.
They were both hard on her and like,
yeah,
you're dumb.
Like
what are you doing?
The apparition Jessie was like who she strived to be. Like she was like tough, but yet loving and all this sort of stuff. And then there was Gerald, who's just Gerald.
Yeah. And yeah, the rest of that didn't happen because we've already seen the dog. So we knew the dog was there.
Yep. So she was starting to get thirsty now. And Gerald always kept the water on the shelf. And Jessie needed to get free to get the water because her cuffs wouldn't get high enough. Or no, her cuffs, like...
It was just barely out of reach.
Yeah. So she's trying everything to get out of the cuffs. And she tried breaking the headboards, pulling free. Nothing's working. And finally, she dozed off for a second. But she woke up. She didn't hear the door opening and shutting anymore. So that's why she woke up, because she's like, it's lack of sound. And it turns out the stray dog came inside.
So because she didn't pass out in the movie, she like immediately was like, oh, I need water. I'm like, girl, you just got locked up.
I know, right?
You're not that thirsty yet.
I go all day without drinking water, lady.
Exactly.
Not great, but
like I bet if we were trapped like this, we could go for a few hours and then we would need water. Yeah. Yeah. Whereas her, she freaking 2 seconds in. Oh my God, I'm parched.
She must be really good about her water intake.
Yeah. Wow.
See? Bad things can happen if you're good at your water intake.
Stop drinking water, folks.
Prepare to get chained to the bed for days on end.
And then she's remembering her dad and things that happened with her dad here. Also, a thing between Gerald and Jessie in the book, they had tried to have children, but Jessie was infertile and could not have kids. Whereas in the movie, it gets brought up that they didn't want kids. Well, that takes away a key part of a lot of this.
A lot of their issues.
Yeah.
We're inside the dog's head now because that's what, Stephen King does.
Mm-hmm.
And we find out his name was Prince. And he's a lab collie mix, which is what Luna is. Oh my gosh. When I read that, because I watched it first, I was like, because in the movie, it's clearly a German Shepherd mix or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, so this made me really sad, actually. Poor Luna's out there abandoned because this owner got it for his daughter. And then he found out it's going to cost him $70 to tag him. So he's like, that's too much. Even though I make 6 figures, that's too much. And so he just left him to die in the woods. And so this poor dog's been dying. But then it smelled blood. And so it went inside and it's Gerald. But it took him a while to officially eat it because that's master meat. I can't eat the people, but I'm so hungry. So eventually he started getting ready to eat Gerald.
It's because he wasn't dead enough yet. Not just because it was master's meat. It was, oh, it still smells like it's alive.
Oh, well, I mean, that too. But it said it was weird because it was master's meat. It probably said also that it wasn't dead enough, but it said it.
Yeah, because later on it talks about wanting to eat the bitch master, but she's not dead yet even.
Well, that's because he got over his eating master meat. He's like, oh, that's actually pretty good.
Dog comes in and starts eating the Gerald. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't get dog's thoughts.
Yeah, no. Mm-hmm.
So he starts eating Gerald, and Jessie's screaming at him to leave, and then he's like, I'm not threatened by you. You ain't getting off that bed. Mm-hmm. And then she's able to get an ashtray off the shelf and she threw it at him and he almost ran out, but he noticed she's still just laying there yelling at him. So he's like, okay. And he went back to eating. She almost threw up, but Ruth's like, you can't throw up or he'll come eat you.
Could you imagine not only being trapped, but now getting eaten alive too?
Dude, that would suck.
That would have been even worse.
Seriously.
In the movie, Allie's already said this, but she throws a book instead of an ashtray. Mm-hmm. And I think it's because this book was written in like, what did you say? Oh, it was written in 92. And then it came out in 2017. So like there's a lot of like small differences. Like the phone that's like what a home phone, a landline.
Yeah.
Is now a cell phone in the movie instead of a landline. No ashtrays because smoking is not really a thing anymore. Like
it is, but now it's e-cigarettes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I like how they find ways to change it, but keep it the same.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was nice. Instead of just cutting it out altogether. So she keeps arguing with Ruth and Goody. And Ruth is trying to get her to think about that one thing that happened on the lake when she was 10. But Jess doesn't want to.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
There's flashbacks, and Ruth and Jesse are like a Me Too group, because Jesse used to be her college roommate. I think I said that already. And there's this girl sharing a story about how her brother and his friends raped her and burned her with cigarettes. And she felt like she couldn't tell her parents and all this sort of stuff, like a Me Too group. But that was before Me Too. So whatever they called it, abuse, anonymous or something like that. Jessie ran out of there. She's freaking out, and she decides to move out of Ruth's apartment.
Does not happen in the movie.
Nope. Now we're back to chained up Jessie. The shelf above her isn't bolted to the wall. It's just on L brackets. So she tries to lift the side of the make like a teeter-totter, basically. She feels a piece of paper from a magazine, but the water isn't sliding, and she's getting frustrated, but finally it does slide, and she's able to get a hold of it.
So, oh yeah, this happens. I thought there was a part in here that I need to make mention of, but not yet.
Nope. Probably this next part. She went to take a drink, but her cuffs make it so she can't reach her mouth. And she's about to throw the water. And Goody's like, no, calm down. And she comes up with a plan. And she had found that piece of paper on top of the shelf, which was from like one of Gerald's magazines. It was like a bookmark thing that came in them.
I know, back in the old days when it would be the like, order your magazines now.
Exactly. And so as she's trying to figure out a plan and make this thing into a straw, Ruth comes back and is like, talk about the eclipse. Tell me about the eclipse. And Jesse's like, shut up. I don't want to think about it. But Ruth won't let it go because she almost told her way back when, but a girl walked in on them. And so that's when Jesse ran off. But she's still ignoring her, and she made her straw and she drank with it.
So instead of a magazine piece of paper for the straw, she uses the like nightgown that she got was a brand new nightgown with the tag still on it. And yeah, I think she ripped it off before
she did. Before they got all.
Yeah, before she got cuffed, and set it down up on the where the water was. And that's what she made a straw with. And then the rest of it didn't happen because Jesse's not obsessed with finding out what happened at the eclipse.
So she stopped drinking. So she had extra water left. And she's talking with herself again. And then she falls asleep again.
She freaking drank a shit ton of that water the first time. I was like, holy crap. You like in the book were like, okay, I'm parched, but I can wait a little bit. Like this needs to last me a long time. Whereas in the movie, she's like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, we just sit there and watch her go gulp, gulp, gulp.
Yeah, I'm like, girl. But yeah, and then she. Oh wait, I think she does fall asleep here.
This is where she falls asleep. Yeah.
Yeah, she falls asleep here.
Okay. So now we have details on how the dog is eating Gerald. First his arms and his face and everything.
Because as Hannibal Lecter would say, the cheeks are the best part.
I liked how it quoted Hannibal Lecter in here at the last, you guys, I finished this book like an hour before we were, like I was coming over here to record. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta finish this. And so.
It's fresh in her memory.
Yes. Read like 8 hours in the last 2 days. Okay. I feel like I read this whole book in the last 2 days. All right. So where are we at? Okay. A nightmare. She's having a nightmare and she's getting a bunch of flashbacks. Jesse's nightmare is about her brother's birthday party where he goosed her and she punched him. What the heck do you think goosed means?
I think it's just like you come up and like kind of boop someone on the nose.
On the nose?
Well, not on the nose. In this, it's definitely like on your butt.
Yeah.
Oh, Dad, that makes sense. Gooses come up and bite you on the butt, so I bet.
Okay. All right.
Gooses? Oh my God, geese. Geese come up and bite you on the butt.
I'm ashamed I did not catch that. Oh, no. So she convinced their dad. And then we like learn more about this. Like for her brother's birthday, he really wanted a party, but they're always away during his birthday time. So she convinced him to go back, and they have a party, and their dad normally doesn't like to do that, but anything for Jessie. And so they went back, and then that's when her brother goosed her after she did all that nice thing for him.
Mm-hmm. How dare you pinch her on the butt?
Yeah. And then her nightmare continues, and a bunch of people from her past are showing up at the house, and Gerald's there trying to handcuff her and all this sort of stuff.
Does not happen in the movie.
No. So the dog woke up and is sensing danger. So he runs into the woods, but not far enough that he can't come back for his meal.
The dog does run away at some point. Actually, I think it is this point.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So then there's a man when Jessie wakes up. And she's freaking out, but she's like, no, it's only shadows. I just need to calm down. But it's not. But she thinks it's her dad coming back from the dead to finish what he had started. And Ruth's like, you're crazy. It's fine. And this guy kind of comes out of the shadows a little bit and shows his box of bones and jewelry. And she ends up passing out.
Yeah, this happens.
Mm-hmm. Jessie ended up having a bad dream. Nope. Yeah. I mean, I guess it is. Just,
I think at this point it was just a dream.
Yes.
It wasn't the bad stuff yet.
Yeah. We get all the details of what happened. She wanted to stay behind with her dad and not go out on the boat with the family. And he stood up for her and is like, oh, Jessie wants to stay back. I'll stay back with her and all this sort of stuff. And her mom's pissed. And she's like, sometimes you treat her more like your girlfriend than your daughter. But she's like, whatever. So he told Jessie they get to stay home or at the house. And he sort of like grabbed her boob for some reason. I don't even remember. Like, was it a hug?
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, when I typed that, I was like, did he just go
just
honk?
Did I ever tell you about the time I was helping Kayla babysit? I was helping Kayla babysit, and we like took the kids to a playground in their little like HOA neighborhood. Me and Kayla are like talking and stuff, and then one of the kids she's watching runs up to me and puts his hands on my boobs and goes honk honk and then runs away. I looked at Kayla and was like, what just happened?
Oh no.
So yes, that's what her dad did.
Oh my gosh. Oh, anyways. Okay, so it was like a hug.
Yeah, it was like yeah.
Okay. So she had this weird shiver, and then she's like, "But no, that's nothing. Nothing happened." And then he's like, "You should wear that sundress," which she was gonna have her mom return because it's too short and too tight. But she's like, "Oh, Daddy likes it. I'll wear it." And then they did a barbecue, and they got ready for the eclipse. And he's like, "You can sit on my lap." And she's like, "Really?" Because it's her dad. She's like, "Oh, Dad, let me sit on his lap." So he made makeshift goggles for them to wear with like glass so they could see the eclipse through, but they had to be careful because it's glass. And she's sitting on his lap, and all of a sudden it's like hard and bumpy, and she's like moving to get comfortable, and he gasps, and she's like getting this weird feeling, but she's like, no, okay, it's my dad. It's not like it's a boy from school. This is my dad.
I felt so bad for her here.
I know.
I also, like, when her mom was getting mad at her dad and said, you treat her like a girlfriend, I was like, just because he wants her to be comfortable and, like, stay behind, okay. And then the rest of this happened, and I was like, fuck. Yeah, I got proved wrong quick.
I'm sorry, though. If those words come out of your mouth.
Why are you leaving your child with him?
Yes. No, there's something awful.
Mm-hmm.
And it needs to be addressed.
Mm-hmm. Well, the thing I hate is how later on in this book it gets said how Jessie knew that her dad knew that she had heard that conversation too.
Yeah.
And then basically held that over her head too.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all of this. Bad.
Bad.
So what kicks her into this memory in the movie is her ghost, Jessie, called her mouse. Oh, wait, no, Gerald called her mouse. And then we flash back to this whole scene. And it's weird. Why are you changing the nickname from Pumpkin to Mouse?
I know. I could see changing it the other way. Like if in the book they call her Mouse.
Yeah.
Change it to Pumpkin because Pumpkin's normal.
Yeah.
Mouse is not.
Chris's cousin used to be called Mouse.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's a nickname people used.
Okay.
But I'm like, why is that a change that I want? I know Mike Flanagan and Kate have kids, so I wonder
If he calls them Pumpkin,
Mhm.
that would be weird. I would change it too then.
Yeah, I bet that's probably
Or the actor, whose
Yeah.
dad might be like, I don't know if I could call Pumpkin because that's what I call
my kids or something like that. Yeah.
I will
That's
approve
probably-
that changed then.
Oh, and in the movie, the mom does not accuse the dad of treating Jessie like a girlfriend, probably because of the argument we just made, where it's like, okay, if you think that, why are you leaving your kid with
Right.
her or with him?
I thought she did because I thought you said, oh, I'm glad she said that. But you wrote she didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, then I guess she didn't.
No, something else happened
Okay.
with that, but I can't remember what it was.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. The thing that confuses me about this is in the book, everything about this eclipse scene happens in like their own private space. Like no one can see them. In the movie, it's literally like at the boat dock
Dude, it was so weird.
where everyone would see them.
Yeah. It was so odd.
Also, an obvious change they made was they changed her age.
Just by a year or two, though.
Yeah. She was supposed to be 10 in the book, and I think she was like 12 or 13 in the movie.
So we're at cuffed up Jessie, and she woke up trying to fight this dream, but ended up drifting back to sleep.
Doesn't happen.
So her dad told her to look at the eclipse, but don't look back at him. And he starts moving. Jessie's just sitting there horrified, and she moans because something hurt or she got uncomfortable or something, and he's like, oh my gosh. And he finished on her. Ugh.
Oh, no,
He hurt her, right? What did he do?
He used his hand to do stuff to her.
He got a little too close.
He,
Got very too close.
yeah.
Okay.
He doesn't do that in the movie, which I could see why they didn't want to show that.
Yeah.
And in the book, she was like, oh, don't worry. He's just goosing you like brother gooses you.
Oh, that's why. I was like,
That's why you thought goosing was.
I thought goosing was like joking around. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, she keeps saying like she just thinks he's joking around now.
No.
Okay.
No, because her brother would come up and nip her in the butt,
Yeah.
which was essentially what dad was doing, just not on the butt.
Yeah. Okay. I see.
So she was like, oh, it's fine. Brother
yeah.
does this all the time.
That's so much worse.
Yeah, this was a hard book to read.
Yes. So she's in shock. He kind of feels awkward. He's like, why don't you go shower and change? And she ends up going to the bathroom, vomiting and cleaning up. And he comes in while she's freaking changing. She's not even dressed yet. And he walks in on her with her shirt off. And she's like, feels super awkward.
Oh, I didn't catch that.
Yeah, because she like covered herself up. And then she's like, oh, but that's dad. And I think I hurt his feelings by doing this. So she put her hands down. So she has her shirt off.
Oh, I thought she was dressed and she just did that because she was like, oh, this is weird.
No, because then it says she proceeded to put her shirt on.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I just blocked that out.
Yeah,
I didn't want
right?
her to be naked.
Oh my gosh.
And well, she's not naked in the movie in that part. But yeah, the rest of that does happen.
Yep. So Jessie wakes up now, like real life. Or present time. Not real life.
Wait. So in that part in the movie, you could tell that she was like really afraid of her dad. Like she understood that it was wrong. Whereas in the book, I felt like she was so innocent still and very much like, this is dad. This is who I love. Like, this is awkward what just happened because I don't know what just happened. But you're still a person that I love and trust.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
So the movie played it more like how I feel like girls would act
nowadays
more now. Yeah.
Because I guess, 10 back then, you're still innocent. 10 now? Nope.
No, 10 now.
You know everything.
It's a whole different deal.
Because they went into like her friends and stuff were like, you can get pregnant by French kissing. There's a baby in your throat. And it's like, so yeah, that's how innocent back then they are.
Yeah. So she literally believed because she had her dad's spunk on the back of her underwear that she was going to get pregnant.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, poor sweetie.
I know.
I'm like, no, don't. No.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So present Jessie wakes up and her hands and legs are completely asleep. She can't not even move them. She was basically giving up, and Ruth's like, you seriously going to give up right now? No, you're not. So she's like, you're right. And so she starts kicking her legs, and she was able to push herself up on the bed. And she has all this adrenaline now, which helped clear her mind. She drank the last bit of water, and she's trying to figure out how to get out of there.
There's a little bit more added into the movie in the flashback scene. In the movie, mom's also pregnant with another child.
Jessie's the oldest in the movie, right? She is the middle child in the book. So we're back in a flashback. Jessie asked if they can please not tell mommy. And he paused for a second. He's like, It's like, I think we have to tell her because I don't think we can keep this a secret. She's like, I'll keep it a secret. I will. She's like, I don't know. You got to keep it a secret forever. And that's a big responsibility. And now as an adult, of course, she realizes that he was gaslighting her as how to get out of this. And
I know, I hated it so much. I wanted to yell at little Jessie. I was like, you are playing right into his hand.
I know, because like, I honestly think it read it as if he was honest. He was like, because he came in and he's like, I think we have to tell mommy. And she's like, no, please, let's not tell mommy. And then it clicked like, oh,
she doesn't want to tell.
She's not going to. Okay, then I'm not going to tell either. Like, I was like, oh no.
That's how it felt for me too. And I was very upset at her.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, child.
I mean,
I understand why.
Your hero,
but
and you and your mom fight all the time. I get it.
And you know that mom just yelled at dad about acting like you're his girlfriend.
Right.
So she doesn't want mom to be even more upset at her. Because here's the thing. Here's the problem. Because her and her mom already have a horrible relationship. She thinks this is going to come out and she's going to be mad at me.
Right.
Not she's going to be mad at him.
It's so sad. So Jessie and her dad chatted a little more, and she finally asked, hey, can I be pregnant? And he's like, oh no. And he hugged her. But he didn't do a full body hug. And he has never done a full body hug since. So he's never lower half ever touched Jessie again. I appreciated that, Stephen King. Thank you. Like, when you had messaged me that this was about child molesting, I was like, oh no. But not that there is a good
story of this.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I feel like this was the better side of it
happened once, didn't happen again.
Yeah. Because I was really going and like, oh gosh, she's going to be like, and it's not even like her dad pursued, like he did and he didn't. It's not like he full on raped her and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that. This was not good at all.
No.
So I appreciate you, Stephen King, for like keeping it
kind of good.
I don't even know how to say that. But you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I do. They never say anything about the full body hug in the movie. So you kind of, reading the book, I knew it didn't happen again. But
in the movie,
well,
seeing it first, I guess I didn't get the same thoughts here where I was like, oh, good. He
stopped.
Changed his ways and stopped. Like, I had assumed he had stopped based on how he was acting. But there's still that like, oh,
this could happen again. I think there's a scene coming up that I'll talk about that made it a bit more like, oh, I bet this put a stop to it.
Oh, yeah.
But other than that.
Okay. So Jessie is trying to get the phone. She's like wiggled out so her feet are sort of on the floor, and she's like, but she's still like too far for her feet to get it. She's tried like pushing the bed, but she can't with her hands up high. So she's like, oh my gosh, I just can't do it. I don't think she ever did that.
No, I don't think so either, because the phone was right next to the bed.
Right. Come on.
Because it was an iPhone.
Yeah, she should have done it.
Yeah, I know.
She could have reached it.
I bet she could have used her feet to grab it.
Yeah.
Dumb.
You know what I bet she could have done too? with that bed, I know in the book,
Oh,
he's like says how it's very sturdy. Like we were saying, like, look, those poles could break. If she had done like some maneuver, like
what's
where
funny
she
is
rolls and puts her feet on the headboard and just if she grabbed the
do you not remember
handcuffs and just pulled them.
Do you not remember?
No, what?
There's a dream sequence where that happens, where she rips off the headboard, but then Gerald comes up to her and goes, "No, these are too sturdy." And then she's back on the. You don't remember? I was livid, and I was about to write things down, and then Gerald said, "Nope, these are too sturdy." That's why they put that scene in there, so that you wouldn't think like you.
Yeah, well, they needed to do a better job of like
making them sturdy,
making it look sturdy. Like she seriously would move, and it would be like wiggle, wiggle, and I'm like, "You're telling me you can't break that?"
It's because they couldn't,
I know,
really trap her. But you know what else she could have done? Hey Siri, call 911.
Right?
Like,
because he said that the phone's probably dead, but it wasn't dead the second. Like it died throughout. Big nab.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that doesn't happen.
Did you just set off your phone calling 911? Oh, no,
I have a droid now.
Right.
Could you imagine?
I know. Cancel. So now we're with Jessie again. And okay, so she's trying to convince herself that there was no man in the room last night, but she sees a footprint. And they had just cleaned the entire house. And it's huge. And then she remembers seeing jewelry in the box. And there was a earring on the floor. And she's like flipping out.
There's no earring on the floor. She sees the bloody footprint a little bit later in the movie. But when she woke up because the man was sucking her toe.
It was so gross. We full on screamed.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck is this dude doing?
It was so gross.
Yeah, and then the dog bit her.
Oh, yeah. Like, what the heck, Prince?
Yeah. Well, we couldn't get in the head of him to see that he wanted to eat Bitchmaster, so we had to get him biting her.
I guess.
I also think it's hilarious that Stephen King writes, because I'm pretty sure he did this in Cujo too when we were in the dog's mind. Every dog he writes always calls the women bitches because
that's what dogs are called.
That's what female dogs are called. Yes. I'm like, man, we are women.
All right. So Pumpkin, which is what she calls younger self, reminded Jessie that she was the memory of when they first got the cuffs. And these cuffs are male cuffs because Gerald couldn't get a hold of female ones. And sometimes females can squiggle right out of male cuffs. And she tried, but the handcuff keeps getting stuck on her thumb. So she's just about to give up, but she knew the Space Cowboy was coming back tonight. Why call him Space Cowboy? I think the Moonlight Man makes so much more sense.
But it was just a play on the Moonlight Man again. It was kind of a jab at him.
I know, he kept calling him throughout the whole thing Space Cowboy. Or she did. And I'm like,
was it only when Pumpkin was talking to her though? Because maybe it's like a little kid thing.
I don't know, because she did it at the end with the courthouse too.
Oh, yeah.
So
no, actually, yeah, that was with Pumpkin too. I bet it's the little kid thing.
All right, that makes sense.
Well, Pumpkin is not someone that comes and talks to her, but she does remember because of her flashback to the eclipse that at dinner when her mom and siblings got back after everything with her dad happened, they were at dinner and her dad touched her shoulder while he was filling her water or something, and she was holding the glass, and then she squeezed the glass so much she broke it. And that's how her mom knew. Her mom looked up at her and was like, because why is my kid freaking out that her dad just touched her? And that's what made her remember what Pumpkin's about to remind Jessie.
Yep. So, Jessie remembered that she had face cream on the shelf above her, and she worked really hard to get this face cream down. And she started unscrewing it, and then the dog comes in and she freaks out because she thinks it's the Moonlight Man, and she drops the face cream. And she was planning on using that as lube to slip out her hand. But now she can't. But Pumpkin told her, go back before the incident and remember something else. And she remembered And it was her dad telling her, be careful with the glass so she didn't cut herself. And then she remembers blood is slick as oil.
I was so mad up until this point. I was like, she's just going to break her thumb. And then this part happened. And I was like, oh my God, this is about to get gross. And I was like, okay, she's just going to give herself a little cut. No, it was worse.
Oh, it was bad. It was like, it wasn't even bad. It was bad what she did, but then what happened?
No.
Okay, we'll tell you. So she broke the glass of water, and that cut her hand up, right? Because it's like you holding glass in your hand. And then she placed this sharp piece in like a crack on the shelf. And then she talked herself up and she went for it and she started slicing. This is gory. So if you don't like gore,
I love that you say it right as her. She's slicing. Well, this is gory. Yeah, guys, like I couldn't read this part of the book.
So if you want to skip, I'm not going to go obviously in as much detail, but you can skip 30
Editing
seconds.
This is going to be great for me.
So she had to cut her hand a bit, and then she got it all bloody with everything. And then she had to watch to make sure she didn't go too deep or she'd obviously die. So she starts pulling, and as she's pulling her hand through, it basically starts skinning her alive. Like the skin on her hand starts coming off like a glove. Ah! So then she realized she had to straighten out the cuff, and that helped a little bit, and she was finally free.
The thing I didn't like in the movie, yes, this happens, but Allie didn't even talk. Doing all of this paralyzed 2 of her fingers, and she can't use 2 of her fingers.
Yeah. Well, it's because she figures it out right now.
Oh, there you go.
I didn't write it in there, but
Sorry.
that's okay. No, because I didn't write it, so good job. Yeah, so that happened. They showed it. They showed all that.
Except her 2 fingers aren't paralyzed. And it definitely did not look as bad as I thought it was going to look, and I'm glad for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That looked just as bad as I...
Oh, no. I pictured, because like in the movie, the skin flap it stayed on. I pictured it like hanging off her hand.
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh, she's fucked.
It stayed on, but it was like halfway off up to her fingers.
But then she put the pad on and then it was fine.
I know. So she cut her mouth because she has glass slivers in her fingers. So she's like put them in her mouth to pull them out, but she's shaking because she's got cramps and everything. And glass went in between her teeth and cut her gums. And she needed to push the bed. So she's like, move, Gerald. She's trying to kick him out of the way and he's not moving. So she just shoves, or she steps on him or something like that. She shoves the bed.
That doesn't happen.
Oh, I just said it. Some of her fingers are not working anymore. There you go. She's paralyzed.
Yeah, thank you.
She got the key, slipped out, or it's the one key slipped out of her fingers and hit the ground, which she's
because it slipped out of the one she can't use.
And she's like, now I can't. It's like, good thing he has an extra. I'm like, you really can't
Get that off the ground.
Right?
I think she was worried if she got on the ground, she would, end up laying down and dying because the dog would come and for sure eat her because she's now bleeding to all hell.
Yep, that makes sense. Okay. But Gerald brought both keys, so she had one more chance. And she succeeded and was free. Then she drank a bunch of water, threw it up, and drank some more.
Mm-hmm. That happens.
Yep. She made a makeshift tourniquet with a pad and medical tape, and she took some aspirin, which probably was my bad idea since it prevents blood clotting, but she needed something for the pain. And she was about to pass out when she said a prayer to stay awake, and she did.
Oh, did she? I thought she passed out still.
Not yet.
I thought that happens later. Okay. Yeah. Well, she never passes out in the movie, and she doesn't take aspirin, and she only uses 2 pads, no medical tape.
So then she went to the telephone, but it didn't work. She assumed the boogeyman cut the line, and then she ended up passing out.
Oh, you know why? Huh. Because there's no telephone that didn't work for this bit. So
right, the phone was just dead.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So then she woke up by a scream, which she found out was the dog's, and she realized it was nighttime again. Ooh, that'd be so scary. You freaking hear a dog screaming.
Yeah.
Ah!
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, the space cowboy was back, and he looked insane and misshapen, and he smelled of death. And he showed her his jewelry box again. So she slipped off her rings and gave it to him and was able to get past him into the car.
So this happens, but in the movie, she's walking down the stairs and he's downstairs in the kitchen, whereas in the book, he was up in Gerald's study.
So she honked to get the dog out of the way. She began driving, and she looked in the rearview mirror, and the space cowboy was in the car with her, and she freaked out and passed out and crashed.
Yeah, that happens.
So now it's been several months.
Oh, one thing I want to make mention of here is this is all set in New Orleans. Whatever. Not in Stephen King's Maine.
I know. How can you do that?
I know. And I'm pretty positive the book was in Maine.
Yeah.
So why they changed that bit of information for the movie, I don't know.
Because they're like, oh gosh, Maine and Stephen King, what the heck?
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, look, I have a note here. She passes out on the floor, not the bed in the movie. So why didn't the dog fucking eat her?
I don't know.
She passed out on the bed in the book because she knew if I'm on the floor, dog will for sure get me. Whereas right now, he's still got Gerald to eat. In the movie, she did not care.
You did.
Okay.
All right. Well, now it's been several months, and she's going to countless doctor's appointments. She spoke to the many police. She has said she has amnesia, which everyone believes, but that's not true. She remembers everything. And she went to counseling, but found out Nora, her old counselor, was dead, so she decided not to go anymore. So she found out there's no footprints or anything in the house, which she didn't understand. And Maggie is Jesse's new housekeeper. She's taking care of her, giving her meds and all that sort of stuff. And Jesse's like, I can't take them right now because I need a clear mind because I'm writing a letter. And she's typing a letter to Ruth.
This does not happen in the movie. Instead, in the movie, she makes a foundation so that she can tell her story about what happened.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, wow, you went from telling no one to telling literally everyone.
So then she gives us all the details of what happened after she passed out in the car. She drove or was found. I missed this part. Was she found by a guy that helped her and got her to safety?
Oh, she crashed, kind of like in the movie. She crashed into like the neighbors. And then the neighbors found her and were like, hey, and then helped her.
So then they got her lawyer and everything. And he used to work with Gerald. He's helping her out a lot.
This does not happen in the movie.
So Jesse got off pretty well because Gerald had great life insurance. And her lawyer said, you need to drop the space cowboy thing because it might look like you tried to murder him because you have an accomplice and all this sort of stuff. So she's like, fine. And then it turns out they hunted the dog down and shot it. Wow. I mean, I get it because now it likes human meat, but wow. Rude.
Mm-hmm.
So turns out also Gerald unplugged the phones. So she could have just plugged it back in and
She could have
been saved.
Yeah, way sooner.
Yep. So her lawyer found out the truth about the space cowboy man. He's like, oh my God, you were telling the truth. And she's like, no, duh, I was telling the truth. And then we get all the details on what he did. So like, he was a freaking creep. He
was a grave robber who ate people's tongues.
And he like
made belts out of their ears.
And he enjoyed having sex with dead bodies.
He was a necrophiliac.
Uh-huh. It was just, he was yucky.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently he's like been to jail a bunch of times because like he had planned to assassinate President Bush and all this sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so he got caught. And Jesse's like, I need to go to the courthouse. And her lawyer's like, no, you are not. And she's like, yes, I am. And she got as close as she could to this guy. And he's not paying her attention. But she gets the attention of the judge. And the judge tries to kick him out. And then that's when the space cowboy noticed her. And he's like, oh, you're not real. And makes fun of her because that's what she said to him. And then she spits in his face. And they leave. And she's feeling good. And she goes home, falls asleep. And for the first time in months, had no bad dreams.
So this part kind of happens, except for in the movie, the dude breaks free of his cuffs when he's mocking her and saying, oh, you're not real.
Dude, that was so scary.
Yeah. And the cops had to restrain the guy. But other than that happened.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm. I almost was like, okay, we're done. And stopped.
Dude, I wish.
We've got some more. All right.
All right. So IMDb cast 37 people.
That's way more than I thought it was going to be.
Way more because there's like 3 people.
Yeah. There's 3 people, but there's also the eclipse scene and the court scene and all those.
So we have Carla, what did we say?
Gugino?
That was Jessie.
I think she did good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see it.
Spy Kids mama.
Yeah.
I liked it. Bruce Greenwood is Gerald.
You know who I saw as him? Let me make sure. Yeah. I pictured Tony Goldwyn the whole entire time. So then when it was this dude, I was like, wait, what the fuck?
Oh.
He's the dad in Divergent.
Oh, yeah. I thought he did good, but the age difference threw me.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Kiara.
Oh, yep.
Ariella?
Aurelia.
Uh-huh. She's young Jessie.
She did fine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She looked like Carla, I guess. Sort of. Maybe.
A little bit. Not a whole heck of a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then we have Carl.
Probably Carl. Schweiken?
Sure. Was the Moonlight Man.
He looked creepy as fuck.
So creepy. And then look at his IMDb picture. It's still creepy.
No.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's more normal than the Moonlight Man, but I'm like, they didn't have to do a whole bunch.
Poor dude.
I know.
Oh my God. He's freaking. Oh my God.
Oh, he's the guy.
He's Lurch. Oh, I'm sorry. I sat here saying you were creepy, dude.
Well, I
You're
mean, he
right.
is.
He is. Look, he's in Men in Black as well. He's in Ewoks: The Battle for Endor. I didn't even know this was a movie. Oh my God. I got a Star Wars movie I gotta watch. Everyone who's a Star Wars fan is probably like, don't fucking watch it. But I love the Ewoks. So anyways.
Oh my gosh. Then we have Henry Thomas is dad. Tom.
I thought he did good.
Yeah, he was creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Then Kate Siegel is mom. Sally.
I just really love that Mike Flanagan always works with his wife.
I think it's cute.
I think so too. Even if it's just a small bit part.
Yep.
He's like, here you go.
And then the dog, Prince. His name is Roach. What the? Who names that?
Roach is a better stray dog name than Prince.
Yes, it is. But yeah, that poor dog. I would hate to be, here, come here, Roach.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's ugly.
Why name your dog Roach?
Anyways, okay, is the theme of the book of the movie the same?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd say so.
Should the character stay true?
50-50.
Which ones?
Well, I think it's hard for me because freaking Jessie doesn't have all of her voices. She's only got Gerald and the other Jessie. There was something that I said earlier where I was like, Jessie did this and she wouldn't have done that in the book. I think it was her. I mean, I guess more so they did stay true.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah. Okay.
And what do you prefer?
Fuck.
I prefer the movie. This book. Ugh. I'll talk about it more next week with The Mist.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just too much. It took like an hour to say she needed a cup of water because Stephen King threw every single metaphor he could think of our way. And normally I like metaphors and I love Stephen King's metaphor writing and everything. But this one was too long. And I understand you had mentioned to me that he did it because like, well, what else are you going to think about when you're laying on the bed? Yes, that's true. I don't need to read it. I'm not laying on the bed. I'm like, just dang nap.
I almost said that I preferred the book, but then I realized I would have to read the scene where she skins herself again, and I can't do that. So I would watch the movie over the book. That's literally the only reason. Okay. Otherwise, it would be book.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like all the different characters, and like especially since like at the start of the book you see Jessie as basically a pushover who does everything her husband wants her to do because of what happened with her dad. And then as the story progresses, yeah, her husband's dead, so of course she's not going to be his pushover, but because of the situation she was in and the voices, she's now become this person who's like, no, I'm going to do what I want to do, and then is able to push the voices away. And I like seeing that more in the book than how the movie did it. But I would not want to read that one scene again.
Would you recommend it to a friend?
No.
I would not at all.
Because that freaking scene.
I just didn't like it. Either of them, really. The movie was okay, but I wouldn't watch it again.
No. Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
Here's our sneak peek for you.
This is the first time both of us have said no.
Yeah.
Wow.
I know, and I'm kind of sad it's a Stephen King book.
I know.
Because I love Stephen King, but...
I know.
Yeah, this is one I'm like, I could live without.
Yeah. Friggin' 13 hours.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if I would feel the same if I had read it.
First? Or read.
Yeah,
You did
read
it first.
Yeah, I was like, no, if I actually like physically read the book.
I don't know.
I don't know. And sadly, I don't think I would try.
Right.
So,
Oh, well. Well, you guys, we have our website, offscript253.wixsite.com/offscript.
go check it out.
Yeah, we got everything on there.
See what we're doing. See what we're up to. That's where we will post about our giveaway.
Yes.
Okay, it's not the only place we'll post, but we'll make a page. Check it out.
Yeah. And there you can rate, subscribe, and review us too.
Yeah. Also, oh, go ahead.
No. I was just going to say, if you give us a review on Spotify, we will. Can they do it on Spotify?
No, it's Apple Podcasts. We can read them unless you do it as a comment in Spotify.
Then we will read it.
Don't forget that season 6 is our listener picks. I believe we have 3 spots left.
I think so.
Going fast.
Yep. Pick them, because we're starting to read them pretty quick here.
Yeah, we are.
And then Wednesday we have a mini-sode
where I talk all about my Arizona trip.
It's just our life catch-up episode.
Because,
a lot of those.
Yeah.
And then Monday's The Mist.
Yeah.
Another Stephen King.
Of course, because we're in spooky season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it. And with that, Gerald's game went off. What the heck? He's just leaving me out to dry here.
I really am.
Wow.
Let's do that again.
Wow. We have a whole nother episode to record. Oh my gosh. You guys.
My brain was like, start saying it. And I like moved my head.
I
like
know.
I was.
Well, you were.
Thinking
You're like, la da 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 da. And your mouth is open and nothing's coming out.
Go again. I'll be ready.
Okay. Gerald's game went off script. Do you see how I hesitated? Because I didn't think you were going to do it.
Like she stopped. She's not saying it again.
Oh my gosh. Bye, you guys. Thanks for sticking with us.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, we would greatly appreciate it if you gave us 5 beautiful stars, reviewed, and subscribed.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Offscript, on Instagram at Offscript Podcast 21, and on TikTok at Offscript_pod.
Shoutouts to Madame Shen Creations for our adorable logo art.
And Adam Daniel for our incredible theme song.
And to Creative Cinephile Productions for producing our podcast.
See you next time.